It was a moonless night when Liam decided to take a shortcut through a desolate countryside road. The road was narrow, flanked by dense woods on both sides, and eerily quiet. The only sounds were the hum of his car engine and the occasional hoot of an owl. About 15 minutes into his drive, he spotted a woman standing by the roadside. She was dressed in a long, flowing white gown, her face obscured by her hair. Liam hesitated but felt compelled to stop and help. The woman climbed into the back seat without saying a word. Liam asked her where she needed to go, but she just pointed straight ahead. As he drove, he tried to make small talk, but she remained silent. The air inside the car grew colder with every passing minute. When he glanced at the rearview mirror, he noticed something chilling. The woman wasn't sitting there anymore. Panicked, he pulled over and checked the back seat, but it was empty. His heart raced as he tried to make sense of what had just happened. Deciding it was best to keep driving, he sped off, his hands trembling on the wheel. When he finally reached his destination, a local diner, he shared his story with the staff. An older man at the counter listened intently and then said, "You're not the first to see her." He explained that years ago, a woman had died in an accident on that very road. Locals believed her spirit still wandered, looking for a ride home. Liam never took that shortcut again, but the memory of that night haunts him to this day. Moral: sometimes, offering help to strangers can lead you into the unknown, where intentions may not be what they seem. Mia and her friends were returning from a late-night road trip when they decided to take a less-traveled highway. The road stretched endlessly, with no other cars in sight. They were laughing and joking when suddenly, the headlights of a massive truck appeared behind them. The truck was speeding, its horn blaring aggressively. Mia, who was driving, moved to the side to let it pass, but it didn't. Instead, it stayed right on their tail, its lights blinding and unsettling. Panic set in as the truck began to swerve, trying to force them off the road. Mia accelerated, but the truck kept up, its horn growing louder and more menacing. Her friends screamed, urging her to drive faster. Finally, they reached a gas station and pulled in, hoping the truck would stop following them. But when they looked back, the road was empty, there was no truck in sight. The gas station attendant, noticing their distress, asked what had happened. When they explained, his face grew pale. He told them about a trucker who had died on that road years ago in a fiery crash. Some claimed to have seen his ghostly truck chasing down cars, as if reliving his final moments. Shaken, Mia and her friends vowed never to take that highway again. But even now, Mia swears she can still hear the distant blare of a truck horn whenever she drives at night. Moral: the past has a way of manifesting in the present, especially when unresolved tragedies linger. Mark was driving home late at night after a long shift at work. The highway was empty, with only the faint glow of his headlights cutting through the darkness. He was halfway home when he noticed a lone biker riding ahead of him. The biker wore a leather jacket and a helmet, and his bike's taillights flickered oddly. Mark tried to overtake him, but every time he switched lanes, the biker moved to block him. Annoyed, Mark honked, but the biker didn't respond. When Mark finally managed to pass, he glanced at the biker. To his horror, there was no one sitting on the bike, it was riding itself. Mark's heart pounded as he sped up, trying to put as much distance as possible between them. A few miles later, he stopped at a rest area to collect himself. As he got out of the car, he heard the faint rumble of a motorcycle engine. The biker was parked a few feet away, staring at him, or so it seemed. Mark quickly got back into his car and drove off, the biker following him at a distance. When he reached the city limits, the bike suddenly veered off the road and disappeared into the trees. Mark later learned that the highway was infamous for a motorcyclist who had died in a crash years ago. Drivers often reported seeing his ghostly bike patrolling the road, as if searching for something, or someone. Mark now avoids driving alone at night, haunted by the memory of the lone biker. Moral: some journeys are best left untraveled, especially when the road carries the weight of the past. These stories remind us of the thin veil between the living and the dead. Night roads often hold secrets that are better left undiscovered.